Hey guys, welcome to the MC Anime Podcast. We cover anime, geek culture, Japanese aesthetics, and Asian studies. We are a multi-fandom podcast, and you can expect to hear topics in your favorite hobby or fandom activity potentially. You can find MC Anime on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, please check out mcanimepodcast.com, our website. Furthermore, stay tuned in for another episode.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of MC Anime. I'm MC Anime. Co-host with me today, Leah. How you doing today?
Hey everybody, I'm good. It's the start of a new week, so I'm excited to hope that this just flies by because I'm off next week.
Ooh, we can do more episodes maybe.
That is a possibility. More content for the viewers.
Yeah, well, kind of funny how days plan out for that. But this particular episode of MC Anime, we are actually discussing the third edition of the installment of Motif series, Devastated Earth. So when you think of Devastated Earth, what do you think of?
As a motif, I'm normally thinking that this is usually people either living still on the earth after it's been completely obliterated, usually by nukes or something like that, or some war. Or them living in space or on another colony on another planet because the earth has been destroyed and they just talk about it in flashbacks and that's it.
And there's not an actual motif of it that is within reason defined, but there's all these the earth goes kaboom, earth fall away, or there's a version of earth that splits off into a timeline, so you have an interdimensional problem that's opposite of the earth we have. There's different versions of devastated earth the way it truly is. It's usually some big event changing the course of humanity, and humanity has to survive with that type of an event. Post-apocalyptic, the color of the universe gets removed if Psyche ever goes rogue, stuff like that. Also, post-apocalyptic is usually comet hitting the Earth, an asteroid hitting the moon, and the moon goes into pieces, and you have Assassination Classroom. The moon is blown up, and the end of the Earth is an intimate with Koro Sensei. You get the point.
Yeah, it's a really good arc. A really good motif for most stories. It helps set the mood, I think, better than some of the other ones we've talked about. Like the warrior teenager, you can kind of put in any universe, and that's just more of for the one character themselves or a side character. But the devastated Earth normally is an overshadowing thing that just comes back again and again in every episode.
Yeah. And also another subgenre that's seen a lot, the Four Horsemen. That's also another recurring theme that's a separate ideologically, but it fits into this umbrella. So Armageddon, Ragnarok, all the apocalyptic events basically is a big storyline for the devastated Earth theory. Even most dystopian genres as well. So brings up an interesting topic, that devastated Earth. It's I guess we have drought. I guess we have rain. I guess we have too much rain and the entire Earth floods. The Great Flood is another example as well.
It'll be, there's Great Flood, or it'll turn into maybe humans have to go underground because the air become poisonous. Yeah. Or, there's something acidic that's in the water that changes things.
There's these creatures from the different dimension that come over and invade Earth.
And constantly cause issues. And I'm just well, this sucks. This is the worst timeline. R.I.P. to these people.
The world of magic never existed, so they had to restart the Magic Society. Or I don't know, you get into like I guess some event like fairy tale. All the dragons go mysteriously gone; they vanish. And that's one aspect, and it's a good plot to the story. Stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's not like fairy tale is not devastated. Oh, we know that, but that is a little piece what devastated Earth could be if it's a major plot point. It's a plot point. It's a major part of the story. It ain't just one little piece.
Yeah, it normally it adds, but it's a pretty big layer though to most
Yeah,
stories. And if it isn't something that is completely like put right in your face by the characters being on Earth while it has been devastated and it's maybe been 100 years or 1,000 years since the devastation happened, if they're somewhere else, they always like give you an immense amount of detail about how things came to be over the period of like a season or two.
yeah. Sometimes they don't reveal it until the very end, so you get a big instead of the cliffhanger. You get the all it revealed at once because everything is mysterious and not making sense. Usually, when it doesn't make sense, there's something always happening. You need to be careful about.
Yeah, normally stories that they hide like a big thing that is like the big question mark.
Oh
If they
God!
don't reveal it until the very end, normally that makes it fun to go back and rewatch it, and then you can see where if you had known that this scene would you would have been like, oh, so that's why they did that, or that's why this makes sense, or why these
Yeah,
characters act this way. So
that sounds
that's
like
the only fun part.
that sounds like in one anime I know, One Piece. Hmm. Everything's a mystery. It's like, why is everything a flippin' mystery?
That's how you keep the universe going, honestly.
Yeah. And then comes a question that never get answered because it's a big question that and then you get conspiracy theories. You love those too. Uh but anyway, um let's discuss classic Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I love this show. It makes me angry. I rage watch
Uh
Neon Genesis. I watched it when I was younger, um, in like in the 90s and early 2000s. Watched it then, and then I watched it again like when I was in college, and then I watched it, I think like a couple months ago. I started rewatching like the first season for it that they have on
mhm.
Netflix. It's great. But you will rage watch. Anyone who has watched it and it's just been like completely zen and calm the whole time, impressive. Just
I
it's
love it.
impressive.
I love it. I just get into the plot like I get into like One Piece and everything else.
Do you watch anime quietly, Ethan?
No, I can rage a little bit depending what's going on.
I feel like you would be very calm, probably watching this show.
Oh, it's
I
something
don't know
happening
why.
that I like.
But for those of you that don't know Neon Genesis, it's one of the most popular like sci-fi animes that are out there.
Yeah.
Just like the movie Akira, Neon Genesis was one of those pivotal creations that came into anime that essentially kind of subverted and changed the whole genre for psychological thrillers. Um, had a great bit of the devastated earth motif constantly on display and constantly as a ongoing threat, and then the sci-fi element to it as well.
Yeah.
uh it does
It's
it all.
kinda
Big
interesting.
mecha. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a it's a really good show. It has movies as well. It first aired back in the 90s and
Yeah.
95. And the the synopsis for it, if you Google it for Netflix, literally just says
Yeah.
teenager pilot fights giant machines to stop otherworldly monsters from wiping out humanity.
Yeah.
Which is the show that It is the show. But I think all of the like think pieces
Yeah.
and video essays that you can find beg to
God.
differ.
There's so many video essays on that show.
So it
I've
has
seen so many
it is
content about it. I was
oh
like,
my god.
people are super passionate about this, even to this day.
This is
Oh
just
God.
like it's one of those things that you can angrily rant about with your friends as you're like connecting plot points.
Oh
Um,
gosh. I don't have
but
time to make a video essay. I'm gonna have someone else make it for me. Oh,
I don't even think the video essay part is the bad part. I think it's the editing. Like if imagine like talking, making a script and then trying to follow through all your points and then go back and edit. That just doesn't sound fun.
oh no! I'm just gonna practice the script long enough that I know it in depth, and I just keep talking about it.
You still gotta edit it. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
You're gonna have to go back and like to see because that's the thing about Neon Genesis. It has so many like arching points and so many arching themes that you can go into a video essay about almost anything in it and have
yeah.
plenty of content.
Actually, I'm gonna get someone to do a like the video essay. I'm thinking a 20-minute video essay if I read it entirely off the script. If that's the case, then I'm get the 20-minute video essay, and then that 20-minute video essay is actually now an hour. I can talk for an hour and fill up content and go back to previous tangents I had before.
Well, I would hope that you could. You run a podcast. I think that's like this is just a field day for you. You're just making up work at this point.
I mean, it'd be fun. I mean, it'd be fun, but I don't know. I think a video essay is not really a podcast necessarily. I want to do a video essay. I guess it'd just be like, well, that's the theme of the podcast. Like I did discrimination in anime. That was kind of cool.
Mm.
Yeah, I did that with my other co-host who now is super busy. And you know what? Whatever. I'm disconnected.
Not bitter, not bitter.
I
Oh,
mean, he did help me with live stream a lot. Actually, all the time. Actually, well, my other friend helped too, but he's also busy, so I'm not really relying on him.
it happens. Doing not just podcasting but live streaming itself. Like you have to really dedicate time. You have to like sit down and be there and engage. So
Oh,
if
I mean,
I
I made it. I did 17 live streams with a PowerPoint.
you did
I had to film the
17,
power. I
nice.
did 17. I had to film a PowerPoint. I had to make a PowerPoint and then talk about that, and then like slowly go to the next slide. So it's like movement. It's not just still motion. And I couldn't at the time reveal my face and do it and show the PowerPoint at the same time. So I had to choose one. I can't do the split screen. I didn't know how to do that.
Mm.
I think there's a way to do it if you like share your screen and then you get like a mirror cast to record it. It's just like whatever. Too complicated.
Yeah, you can screen record and then also share like whatever you're doing, or do split
Yeah,
screen if you like really want to get into it. But it can be a lot, especially if you're just doing it by yourself.
yeah. The way
Yeah.
I have to do it would be like the way I have to do it is I have the Discord call on the phone and then do the live stream through like a platform like Facebook or YouTube, and then I mirror my screen. I can use the screen as the live stream, and then I'm talking in the background. But recording and get that recorded with the webcam, just another story.
Hey, as long as both everything is working, so you don't get to the end of it and realize either A, you don't have audio or like the video wasn't syncing. As long as you can avoid that, I think you're golden. But I do know it's trial and error.
Yeah,
And
I don't
and
have to
that
like.
might make you rage quit.
I just it felt like with the blogs, I put so much time in the blogs, and then I put time in the presentations. Like, this took me 3 hours to make, and now I'm doing a live stream. Like, what the heck?
All of your time. It's just spent making content. It's
Yeah, I'm just like
it's a
no.
labor of love. It's a labor of love.
Then I had my OCD about citing my source over there. I got the image is like, here's the citing my source here. This is where I got the picture. This is where I got this info.
Just starting to break you. Like your love for it is keeping you going, but
Oh, no,
yeah.
podcast is a lot easier because it's like even though I'm spending time with guests and original content and interviews from the Gazoo, but it's still fun.
I
There's
mean, it
talking
should
people in it.
be. Yeah. And on the bright side, I mean, at least you're talking about stuff you really enjoy.
Oh yeah.
Like, at least
Well,
you get to pick your topics and you don't like work for a TV, like radio studio or whatever, and they just hand
yeah.
it to you.
I mean, if even they handed it for me, I just do research. Now, if it's
I mean,
like
that's true.
last minute kind of thing, oh god.
Oh, no, we're not doing like, like breaking news.
Oh,
Like,
I don't
no,
mind
no.
breaking news, but I have to read a teleprompter. They have to have a teleprompter for me to read, so I'll read the teleprompter. That's the only way I'm doing it.
You don't want the guy with the cardboard signs as he like flips them down so you can just read the words from that.
Oh, I
I
hate
mean,
cue cards. I hate cue cards with a passion.
hey, that is an industry that no one gives enough respect. Those people have to be on time, have to stay in
Oh,
the place you can see them.
what did you do with the teleprompter? Oh, I hate
Once
cue cards.
again, machines taking jobs. Once again.
You know how many? If you have like a 15-minute script and you're doing cue cards, well, feel for the person that has to do like flip through like 50 panels of it.
Yeah, it's arm day. Let's get into it.
Oh gosh.
No.
I want to just deal with the Black Moon event in Evangelion, Neon Genesis. There's only one human soul.
There is nothing about Neon Genesis that has ever made me say, like, you know what? I'd rather be where Shinji is. Like, there has never been anything so hard in my life, and I was like, man, forget this. Like, let's just get into Neon Genesis universe. Nothing about the universe is great, in my opinion. I think
Yeah,
it's very poetic. There's a lot of psychological pieces that you can take from it, and you can also try and identify with different characters and like root for them in their
videos
missions.
about just about different conspiracy theories and video essays and analyze this, analyze that, and it's just like word vomit all over again.
Now, do you want to explain the plot a little bit for
Yeah,
Neon Genesis?
like you have the third impact is the cosmetic cosm bleh, cosmetic event that occurs in the end of the Enneagram after being anticipated in the Neon Genesis. The third impact, human ingenuity, the merger of all humanity into a single life form, is nearly achieved. So there's
Oh, I don't think that.
different.
No, I'm saying like if I didn't actually watch the show, everything you would have said right then, I would have been like, cool,
Yeah,
because even third impact, because
that's
when is
the
Neon?
that's the devastated Earth.
Yeah,
That is
that's when it
the
gets to
devastated
devastated
Earth.
Earth. Well, I would even say, so what the impacts are in
Yeah,
Neon Genesis is when it's basically, as you said, like a
yeah,
cataclysmic explosion impact with the Earth that causes either a wipeout or beginning of life. So the
yeah,
first one, when the show's lore starts, is there's two spaceships that are out in space and they land on Earth and they're called like what, Adam and Eve.
yeah.
Adam ends up in Antarctica and he just like freezes over. He's hibernating. And then Eve, she hits the ground. She gets damaged, but she does basically start life on Earth. Um, and it's called like the seed of life or so. And
Yeah.
so what that's her purpose of her ship. And then when humans eventually evolve, we end up finding Adam in Antarctica. And in the show, the way that uh the human soul and body works is that they're separate. So there's like the human
Yeah,
soul, and then the body is its own separate thing. And
yeah.
I
The
guess you
people
can you can
plane and the
bond.
astral plane are like separate beings.
Yeah, so you can bond with these ships, which are also essentially sentient beings. Someone tries to do it. does not go well, and it causes another explosion, which is called the second impact, and they
Yep.
just destroy Antarctica. So, like, anything that you've ever wanted to know about Antarctica, gone, absolutely
Yep.
done.
Off the face of
And
the planet. We now have only 6 continents.
mm-hmm. And in the world, instead of having
Yep.
countries and continents, they do it instead as like sectors, and
Yep.
that's also how they establish their defenses as well. As we get into Neon Genesis, the world for that, and then the third impact is, like you said, is another impact with the Earth, in which all of the human souls almost essentially bond together with one. What is it, like an alien ship or being or whatever?
Yeah, the
And
alien ship is angels.
yeah, for the angels, and it doesn't work out. We got our boy Shinji. Um,
And don't
you know,
forget the DNA is into Rai was created from the DNA of Shinji's mother.
yeah, they definitely play a lot with the like the tales from the Bible and the symbolism
Biblical
of
illusion. Gotta love it.
huh? Yeah.
Biblical illusion is what it's called. The great technique.
Mm-hmm. So within the show, um, as after Adam essentially just destroys Antarctica, he has his own children. So Eve, her children, where she gave life to the world, that's humans and all living beings. Adam is a jerk, so he has like all of these robot alien children who are called angels, and their only desire is to wipe out humanity.
Hmm.
Just,
So it's
just
right
take us
over
out.
dictations of Adam just being the jerk and wanting nothing
Just
to do with
not helping us
humanity.
out at all.
This,
Um, so
and
within
don't
the
forget Death
show,
and Rebirth too. That's also another.
very much
motif.
so. Yeah, very much so. But they don't really use not so much the butterfly in this one, but the theme
Just
of
Death
death and
and Rebirth.
rebirth. Yeah, just death and rebirth is consistently shown. And in the show, if anyone's seen the movie Pacific Rim,
Oh yes.
um that's a great way to kind of imagine how Neon Genesis is. Great
Didn't
Neon
Neon
Genesis.
Genesis inspire Pacific Rim? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of something that might be more current in case anyone hasn't seen Neon Genesis. Because it's the same thing. Like, you get into a ship that's a giant mecha ship to fight in, and you are connected to it. So when it gets hurt, you get hurt. And then you are fighting these monstrous beings that essentially want to destroy humanity.
Yeah.
And it is like your soul is a part of the transaction between you and this machine in order to function. And with defeating these beings, it's a lot. Neon
Yeah.
Genesis is definitely a lot. Like, sometimes you have to, like, after you watch a few episodes, you're like, I'm gonna go take a
Yeah.
walk. This is sad. Like,
And also,
there's
if
a
you
lot
want
going
to
on.
trace the Pacific Rim genre back, even before Neon Genesis, you can go all the way back to Ultraman, where they introduced giant kaijus, giant
Hmm.
aliens coming down, and apparently Ultraman turning into a giant. He wasn't using a robot. Oh, yeah, yeah, he
Yeah,
just turned into a giant Ultraman.
yeah, that's it.
So,
That's it. That's the show. um, now,
but Pacific Rim is like the Mecha, like Gundam and Neon Genesis is more the inspiration there.
mhm. Now in Neon Genesis, the one thing that I always found, and I think the thing that is most jarring, at least to me, is you have this weird dichotomy and weird duality between there's the students who's like they're in school, like Shinji's friends, and they're in school, they're doing homework, they're going to clubs and all of that, and then Shinji will get just pulled out of doing that to go and fight,
Yeah.
and basically protect the Earth from whenever an angel shows up with his team. And you even see the students like watching from the school building, or if they're in a car and they're evacuating the area,
Yep.
and it's so surreal. But it constantly keeps packing on with a destroyed Earth theme, where
I
it's
think,
like
yeah.
humanity's still there and we are still trying to live and thrive
Yeah.
and survive, but literally you could be in third period,
Yeah.
minding your business, and then your buddy next to you is the defender of your, at least your sector, and he could get called out at any time, or you can get wiped out at any time, and that is a over like a very heavy theme. The whole show like keeps going.
Yeah.
What did you think when you were watching it?
I really like the application of not only devastated Earth, but like all of the different transformation in the creatures, the psychological aspect, the growing story of I have school and I'm a superhero type feel too. And it's like, well, I don't have to keep a secret identity. They know who I am. But yet it takes place in some weird school setting that just happens like, oh yeah, Ichigo happens to be at school and has takes out of his soul and the body just left there. No one knows except a few people.
Yeah, is not the case in Neon Genesis. And I think the worst part is that everyone's very aware. Like the whole time you're watching, instead of it being where you kind of have these very lax moments and you can kind of be relaxed and have fun or have a filler episode, Neon Genesis doesn't give you that. They just said, nah, we might die anytime. So they constantly have a very serious tone that's always right underneath the surface, even when he's having like lighthearted conversations with his school friends. Or Shinji's trying to like build up the confidence to tell Asuka that he's like, hey, you're being rude to me right now, and this is my house. Like even when that's going on, you're still very much so aware that these are essentially child soldiers who have to go fight for humanity.
Speaking of what we talk about different races and how Cowboy Bebop plays that role.
I like that transition. I love Cowboy Bebop. I have the tattoo of Spike's ship and everything on my arm.
Yeah.
My favorite anime of all time.
Yeah, she's a Bebop simp, so just it's okay.
Very much so. All day, every day. No shame. But in the show itself, it basically is set around
shame, so I guess you're okay.
Look, you can't call me a simp, especially when we talked about. There's another anime we're going to talk about a little bit later in this episode that I messaged Nathan about because I was very upset that I was not mentally prepared for the love aspect of it. So I don't want to hear nothing about simping. I
wasn't simping over it. I just
you weren't simping, but it feels like you were because you were offended.
I just like the reaction.
I was like, once again, you have introduced me to a show and gave me no warning about the thing that very much so should have been mentioned at least once in our conversation. but Cowboy Bebop is a show that takes place in the stars in our solar system, and essentially it follows bounty hunters of Spike, who everyone absolutely loves, and his merry band of crew members, and they basically travel around most commonly, I think, with Mars and whatnot. And essentially in the show, the Earth itself is still around. It hasn't been like blown up into bits or anything like that, and humanity's run away. But we did have a Stargate, like something that you would see, like in Star Wars, where you can just zoom through space. And it exploded, causing a bunch of pieces to crash into the Earth. Most of humanity that remained underground.
Yeah. So basically, it's the reason why there's like different races and humanity exploring space, and it's most of the time it's another human race. It's another human from a different planet, and the criminals that they track are also human bound. They always get into debt because they don't make enough money, or they do so much damage that the money they earned is like offset by the loss and damages.
Yeah, in the show itself, they hop around from Mars, a place called Titan, a place called Europa, Pluto, and in the show, they're constantly chasing a different bounty, and there's like two storylines going on. There is the crew doing their episodic bounty hunter moments and captures or losses or whatever, and then the other one is Spike in the life that he had before becoming a bounty hunter, and his arch nemesis.
Leave.
Huh?
Once you get into the mafia, you don't leave.
You don't leave.
Exactly.
He did. He did leave, but it didn't stop.
It cut back up to you. Oh,
He was doing well, but Spike has a bad habit of getting involved with people he shouldn't.
Yeah.
And his arch nemesis, Vicious.
Yeah.
Vicious is just he's just a futuristic e-boy. It's fine.
Oh gosh.
You look at that man and you tell me differently.
What?
He's a white-haired 6'2", like angry emo kid.
Pure viciousness. I don't know how to describe him. He's out for blood and just very unorthodox, and if you cross him or do something he doesn't like, you can potentially die.
Very much so. Very, very much so. But in the show, when it comes to the Earth itself, the reason it fits with this theme is that one, everybody basically is living on these different planets, and they've been living there for a while now. Like the Earth got hit, and they've already established like cities and colonies on these other planets and societies.
And they don't have it better on other planets either. It's still like that devastated Earth. Because Mars is pretty desolate. It's just a red desert.
Yeah.
So,
and people also refer to themselves as they're like, oh, I'm from Mars. They don't say that they're from Earth because they likely weren't born there or left when they were a kid.
Yeah, this is spanning centuries too. So civilization is able to revamp throughout the universe, and intergalactic crime is just one way to pass time for the bounty hunters.
Yeah. Also also the devastation that does happen to the Earth happens in the year 2021. So that was cool. That was a fun little tidbit. But yeah, it's submerged buildings, it's big deserts, ruined cities, rock.
Isn't Cowboy Bebop 20XX?
Yeah, that's just how they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say 20XX, so you never know exactly what year it is.
I mean, if you want to do XX, then technically that's Roman numeral. So, gosh, what's X?
10.
Is X like 10, 20?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that won't fit.
That wouldn't work. Nah.
Unfortunate.
We tried to figure that one out, but
actually, no. X is like 50, I think.
X 50?
Yeah, because I know 20 is actually
or is 20 the V? I thought that was 5. Ooh, in my mind, I really did think that. Hold on, let's see. No, X is 10. Yeah, it's 10.
Oh, X. Oh, okay, yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it would have to be a C if it was 100. That's not sexy. Nobody wants to see that.
I don't
Never mind.
See, like 6 digits and letters that make any sense.
So, in the show, the one thing that they always say about Earth is that nothing good comes from Earth anymore. And
it's just a backwater country.
Mm-hmm. Essentially, if you're still there on Earth, you're not thriving. You're not surviving or anything like that.
You're in despair and you're just into crime. You're either very poor or you just are a criminal that wants to hide and get away from different people because Earth is very easily avoided, I guess. It's not like it's just desolate. There's not much there.
No, and there is an episode in which there is Jet, who is essentially the captain of the ship, that Spike is also a part of.
He always fights with and disagrees with, and so
You
here's the
know,
captain of this ship. You can leave at any time.
he is the captain. He was also a former cop, and got framed out of being in his job. All of that fun stuff. But there's
Yeah,
an
and fearless
episode where
not
they're hunting down a
respecting his
guy.
background also caused trust issues too.
Mm-hmm. And in one of the episodes, when they're hunting down a bounty who is also at the same time collecting dogs, or like he has dogs or whatever. If you watch the live action one, huh?
Yeah, that's where the dog comes in.
Yes, he's a great mascot.
Yeah.
He's a great mascot. But you
Oh,
learn that dogs don't exist anymore in space because they are from Earth. So anytime a dog is seen, they're basically a black market high product item, because I guess also when the ships were leaving Earth after the impacts were happening from the explosion, rich people were putting their dogs in the seats with them or next to them, so they were taking up space on these ships. So more people died trying to get off of Earth than
yeah.
needed to.
It's
So
like
they're highly
Wally.
coveted. Yeah.
Wally! And they come back to Earth and all fat.
So cute.
I
Such a
love
little human.
Wally. Perfect definition to protect the life. And they don't want to go back to Earth because that was such the protocol to go back to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And Wally is literally having this boot that says that life can still flourish on Earth if given a chance.
Let's give it a chance, guys. Just come back. Get off of your spaceship where you haven't walked in years.
Yeah, and
Come
then
back
you're like
to Earth.
low center of gravity. You can't even walk. You need levitating chairs.
Just waddle or roll.
Yeah.
But
Oh gosh.
but yeah, so
Speaking
Cowboy
of,
Bebop, it's a good watch. And it's only what, like 25 episodes, 27
yeah,
episodes? It's a
something
one
like that.
season show. Yeah. It's very succinct. They wrap up basically everything by the end. And the music's great. It has one of the best opening theme songs ever. So
Oh yeah.
if you want to check it out, give it a chance.
Speaking of Wally and humanization, let's go to Knights of Sidonia.
That's what I was talking about, guys. Once
Uh,
again,
you
this
love
one was
Knights of Sidonia.
I think it looks really good. I will say that the animation style that I saw in the video that I watched about it,
Mhm.
about the full story, it has that like kind of like 3D look to it. And it did catch me off guard when I first saw it. It kind of reminded me of like video game cutscenes at first, but then I got used to it and it was fine. Mm.
It's kind of interesting.
It looks very interesting, and it has a pretty solid story, especially. Well, first, do you want to
Mhm.
explain to them what Knights of Sidonia is?
Yeah. In this Knights of Sidonia, we have the human pilot who's like from an old generation of human, I think. What was another one? It's a space opera mecha. Um, they evolve through the separation of Earth. Story set into 3394,000 years as mankind flees from Earth after it was destroyed by a race of shape-shifting aliens, the Ghana, aboard hundreds of colossal space crafted from the remains of the planet. One such ship is Sidonia, which has developed its own human culture, closely bound of that of Japan, where human cloning, asexual reproduction, and human genetic engineering, such as granting humans photosynthesis, are commonplace. It's also revealed that the top Evangelions of the society have been granted immortality. It's probably the last human settlement remaining, as the fates of the ships are unknown. So yeah, we have a main character who is a regular human being. He doesn't make his own food. He's not a photosynthetic being that's like a plant, but a human as well. He's from the underground old generation, and he actually knows how to pilot one of the ancient Knights of Sidonia to fight these Ghana-like creatures. And the reason why he was kept a secret is that I think the adopted father trained him how to save humanity through video games, so he was able to maneuver piloting through that, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, when I was watching it, because it at first I was like, okay, so humanity, because you don't get introduced to anyone on Earth at all. They're already on their ship, which is like a ship that is in a meteor.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, like
Yeah.
a comet or a meteor. And so the very front of it almost kind of looks like a normal rock that you see floating through space. And it's way bigger on the inside. I don't know why, but the outside is like um in my mind I'm like, oh, it's a regular size ship. And then you realize they
Yeah.
have a whole civilization living in there. And even the way that the inside of the ship is like made up, so um it looks like Japan. Like they have schools, they have buildings, they have artificial sunlight so people can walk around in their uniforms and everything. But then they're also have attack fleets and pilots who attack these alien life forms who are hell bent on just killing off the rest of humanity. And you
Yeah.
don't know why for a really long time. Like
Yeah.
it would make sense if it was just like humanity's just fighting aliens that are out there in space, but it is
Yeah.
this specific like species that wants to take us out.
Yeah. And even with the Knights of Sidonia, they get unexpected help from a chimera. Chimeras are basically tools that can be used against the Ghana, similar as a mech suit instead of the life form. It's created from the human sperm and egg, implanted in the womb of a placental human from the placenta, and then the end result is a creature with intelligence and ego of a human and the power of the durability of a Ghana. What do you think of Chimera?
I don't have a problem with chimeras, but not like 90% of the time, the most iconic ones that you can think of, like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, for instance. Um, you whenever you're seeing a chimera, it's usually like either they're in a lot of pain or they're used as a weapon. And I do like them. I like their enhanced abilities and how they
Yeah.
also have something usually they'll have something similar to intelligence or actual human intelligence. So I think they're cool. I think they're mostly like misused. like they're like there's
Yeah.
no PETA there to like help us out, but
Yeah.
they are very cool.
But in Knights of Sidonia, the Chimera actually plays a really unique role in being the saving grace to humanity.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Which we have the alien life form that gets introduced into the story as a
Mhm.
human
Mhm.
DNA alien hybrid.
No, Mason. you you explain her completely because it was it she's awesome. She's an amazing fighter. She's very strong. But they made her a waifu and there was no warning. There was no warning whatsoever.
I
So
mean,
like people
if
are
you think of
dying.
intelligent life, it's going to attach to the person that spends the most time with.
Very true. And he started to fall for the alien human hybrid as well. But at the same time, I literally messaged you about this. I was like, I was into the story, I was into the lore, and I'm like, oh my gosh, all these fights, like these creatures keep coming back. You get really into it, and then this alien hybrid gets introduced, and then for a little bit, they do pause to be like, we gotta foster this romance. And it becomes like a love triangle. And that made me laugh way more than it should have. Because I was just like, how did we get here? like, how did we get here? How do we go back?
I mean, yeah, but they did it like in an innocent way. It was kind of cool.
Dude, she has like tentacles and stuff. Like it is very distracting. They make her blush and everything, which I thought
Yeah.
was even funnier. I was like, not them making the alien blush. Like she gets like embarrassed and stuff, and it gets like jealous when the human like he goes outside with another girl and they barely hold hands, and she's like, would he do that with me if I was a girl? And I'm like, you are a giant robot. You are
You're
literally a Gundam sized robot. Saying
and
ooh,
then you
like
also have like a attachment of your body that's like going out to be human size. When in reality,
yes.
that's just connected to your original body.
It's not even like really be just human size. It's also like it to me personally, her weird attachment limb kind of looks like a dolphin in some angles, and I'm
I
just
don't.
like, what is happening? And they dress her up too,
Yeah,
like the attachment. They put it in clothes and everything.
yeah,
It's a good show, and it has a good fan base and everything. But
yeah,
that I think is the funniest part.
yeah.
It catches
Imagine,
you off guard.
oh, imagine this. You're the only human that's like the OG human that's not have a synthetic uh ecosystem within you, being cytokinesis and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Photosynthesis. You're not photosynthetic like other humans, where they just create their own energy. You have to eat, so they really don't have much food because they don't need much food. They make their own food out of their own body. So the need for food is not really present in the show, so they continuously make him food in the which I love about it because like, oh yeah, we don't do that. You're just the odd one out of the bunch. We don't have to eat like that. We don't have to carelessly burn calories and keep we replenish ourselves with food and nutrients just to keep us going.
But I do think it also adds to
Yeah.
making him more of the main character, you
Yeah.
know.
I
Um,
love it.
like him living underground, and then also his grandfather was the first pilot of
Yeah.
the Sidonia Knights who was killed like in battle or whatever. So he has all of these. He has everything to make him a main character besides the hair. He looks like a
Yeah, the hair
it's
is like
yeah,
all black.
they didn't even
Oh my
it's
god.
so yeah, they parted it to one side just a little bit and they were like, that's it. You're done. You're
It's
perfect.
like, what's the style in this? There's no style to it at all. It's just so plain.
It is so played, and the worst part is that like half of the other characters on the show have a similar hairstyle as well. Like even one of the love interests, it's just like,
Oh my god.
okay. They gave other characters like silver hair or pink or green or purple or whatever, and they just said, eh,
Let's just
nah.
make it black tail, just like Japan.
Honestly, yeah. But it is a great show. I think the creatures like them coming to Earth and destroying it with the sole intent of like wiping out humanity and then
Yeah.
still chasing them also gives me the same feelings I have like with Neon Genesis, where there's always this very big looming threat. And the show does a really good job of every time you think it's done, like, oh, they found a planet, or like, oh, they won this battle or something, but the war is still going on. Every time they get like a moment to breathe, something happens,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of pressure, but it seems really good from what I saw, except for the alien waifu thing. That one's gonna stay with me.
I mean, at least now you're gonna watch it, right?
I mean, yeah, now I have to know who he ends up with because they didn't make that very clear at the end of the video. They gave me everything else. They were like, and his birthday is, and I'm like, who does he end up with? Get to the point. Forget about the Earth. There is dead. Let's go. who's the Bachelor? Like, who wins? Like, come
Oh,
on. It was so now I have to watch it so I can see what happens.
yeah.
So thank
It's
you for that.
also it's like I think it's like 2 or 3 seasons as well.
Yeah, but I'm trying to see. Is there a movie? Because I know it's on Netflix, but I wonder if there's a movie.
Movie.
Yeah, there is a movie.
Yeah, there's a
2015.
movie too. Okay.
Hey, at least it's all in one place. Like,
Yeah, it's a Netflix original. So
little victories.
you know, speaking of like, well, I guess creatures destroying humanity. How about going into another devastated Earth theme? Almost Neverland.
Very good show. The manga is definitely better, but
Yes.
this one I think is the only one on our list that is humans are still living on Earth,
Yeah.
in this devastated Earth scenario, but we don't have a like cataclysmic end of the world scene like they do in Neon Genesis.
Yeah.
We're not like as you're watching the show, the Earth has definitely been turned and changed because of a great war between humans and demons. But at least in this show, we're not thinking that like something's gonna blow up the earth at any
Yeah.
given moment and suck all our souls to be like one blended smoothie. Um, but I think what both seasons are on
Yeah.
Crunchyroll Funimation.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah,
It's set in the year 2045. Emma's 11-year-old orphan living in the Gracefield house, a small orphanage, housing her and her 37 siblings. Life has never been better, with food that tasted gourmet, plush beds, snow white uniforms, the love of their mom and caretaker Isabella, and the early of daily exams that Emma always aced with her two best friends, Ray and Norman, are basically allowed to do whatever they want except to venture out of the compound of the gate that connects the house to the outside world. So
yeah,
yeah, it's it's really good. I don't want to get into. Well, we can say that the outside world is an unknown thing about it that applies
yes.
to the devastated Earth. And once you figure it, okay, so once you figure it out, it's a major plot point in the anime. It really drives season 2 as that transition after they find out. But it's so many episodes in season 1 building up to it. I really think the shock factor is worth watching season 1 to that point. And at least to my degree, what do you think?
Um, like the unknown aspect of everything, because when you're introduced, you think it's all kind of like picturesque, and you're aware that
Yeah,
it's supposed to be almost like it's supposed to be a psychological like thriller one. It's supposed to
yeah,
have like horror themes to it, but you do not get that when you're first watching the episode, and then they just punch you in the face with it.
yeah. It's like
Like
6 episodes in, you get some
no,
glimpse of it.
no, not even six. It's like the first 10 minutes are
Yeah,
really like easygoing and like I don't know, basically Animal Crossing if it was just humans involved, and
yeah,
then and then it's like then they have that iconic scene with like the rabbit and everything when they go to
yeah.
give her their and when you see it you're just like oh no oh no 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 and in the whole first season does a great yeah it does do it builds up your anticipation you're on the edge of your seat and you're also constantly worried that these characters are going to get caught
Yeah.
before you know like yeah you're worried they're going to get caught and
Mhm.
like killed or something but more so you're worried that they're going to get caught before you get answers and you're
Yeah.
like what is going on reveal stuff to us Scooby-Doo gang of children what is happening
They're just trying to escape because now they're curious what the outside world is. That's basically what season 1 is. They make the attempt, and then it's basically when Stranger Things, when they find out that everything is not so cut and gray. It's just like everything is
Well,
at once.
yeah, I think we can fairly say, like, at least the main premise of it is that they're kids who are basically tattooed with numbers on them, kind of like cattle are in a farm, and that's because they're
That,
fed to demons.
let's not talk about that. That's a major plot point.
It's not a, it's literally the plot. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
but
say
like,
why. No, I'm not gonna say why, but that's basically
yeah,
we find that out in the first 10 minutes of the first episode.
yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna say anything else for that point, but you see that, and then it does make sense, at least by episode 1, that one, things are not as they seem. It's not like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And then 2, that there's a whole world out there that they've never even gotten a peek at because there's this giant wall blocking them off from it. But then you
Yep.
wonder what universe could you possibly have where you basically have an orphanage of children that you give to demons. It's so concerning.
Mm-hmm.
It's unsettling. Yeah.
Symbolism of white being pure and innocent. Like they have no care in the world. They're just being raised in the orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They're
What's back to white? Like I don't know. There's just it's very eerie. They're dressed all in white.
they're dressed all in white. Um, and they're learning, they're playing, and they're always told, someone they got adopted, and
Yeah.
that's how a kid exits. So they're never enlightened to what's going on until, of course, they have that big reveal in episode 1, or they show you what the world is really about in episode 1. But you're
And then the
still left.
mom, like Isabella, beware. She's the gatekeeper. She's going to prevent you from escaping.
Uh,
Oh gosh.
Mother is probably one of the most intimidating villains in an anime that I've seen in a while,
Yeah.
because they, just like how the children are all in white, she's dressed almost like a traditional housemaid
Yeah.
for like a rich family, like a Victorian family or something. And she's very soft spoken, she smiles, she's sweet, and she gives you like mother of the main protagonist,
Yeah.
where she has to die in order for them to like
Um,
start their story. And then
oh,
and so you get bamboozled real fast.
this is
And
the
you still
perfect Hansel and Gretel Grimm tale.
mm,
That's
no,
a
you're
good.
right.
That's a good connection, actually.
No, you're absolutely right.
And for anyone that doesn't know what Hansel and Gretel is, it's just a house full of candy, and children just don't leave because they're just getting fed by the witch, I believe. And
Um, yes.
yeah,
So the like American Fable.
yeah,
Is it an American Fable? I want to say it is.
the Grimm
Um,
tale.
yes, where
Mm-hmm.
they leave crumbs in the woods to find their way home, and
Mm-hmm.
come across this house. It's getting late, it's getting dark. The old lady lets them in, and they start eating, and they feel safe. But she actually wants to eat them, and that's horrible.
Yeah,
My
and oh joy, you be all nice and good, and you can stay here forever and be who you want.
See, okay, we know what's an evil witch if they do the laugh though, and that's the only difference. Especially with Mother in Promise Neverland, she never does an evil laugh. She smiles, and you don't know
He's
what
like,
she's thinking.
yeah, that creepy smile. It's like, you should know better than that. I raised you better than that. Now for your punishment. it's just like she's just killing you with that creepy smile, and you just like, when will this ever end?
It's a weird like gaslighting way of abuse that she has on the kids too,
Yeah.
because you have to also know that outside, like, it's the I think it's the mother, and I don't think there's any other adult. It's just mother herself who takes care of these kids. So she's the person making sure they're fed, that they're bathed, they're learning their lessons, all of this, and they're well taken care of. And then she's the last one with them when they are off to meet their adopted family. So even in the story, even in season one, when you're desperately trying to figure out what turned the world so dark, you keep getting pulled in because you're like, nah, mother, look at her. She's so
Yeah, I just
sweet.
want people to eat veal, you know.
And then yeah, and then she just, actually turns out to not be the sweetest at all.
Yeah. Instead of sugar and spice, she's just pure spice and despair.
Yeah.
There's
Now I
like
will
just the void. Instead of instead of Jigglypuff sucking you in, it's just like, hi, how's it going? Oh my gosh.
yeah, I do have to say,
Guarding the flock. Make sure they're all safe.
yeah, and
They don't
out
go
of
feet.
yeah, for most of the devastated Earth, devastated Earth examples that we've had, it's been something much bigger that is immediately shown to you or explained to you right away.
Yeah.
But Promise Neverland is great because even after you learn even that basic thing in episode one, you spend the rest of the season and season two desperately digging for answers and seeing like how are these kids again, because these are children, like
Yeah.
barely double digit kids. I think they all get adopted at like age 12 at the latest. So
Yeah.
these are very young children trying to find a way to survive in a world that they have no outside information on outside of what's been told to them.
Oh yeah.
And they're also trapped within a commune that the person who's keeping them, she's connected to somebody or something,
Yeah.
and you don't know what she can bring in or what her abilities are and how far they
Yeah.
reaches.
The age of 12, just the green ripe banana that you just want to eat up because it's good.
Mm-hmm. I think this is also the only one on our list where it's mostly children. Like, of course we have like Neon Genesis, but that one, at least they're high schoolers at that point. But I think this is the only one that is just mainly kid based. There's multiple adults in Neon Genesis. Cowboy Bebop is all adults. And I have no idea how old anyone is in Knights of what is it, Sidonia. And
Yeah.
no idea how old anyone is. But they all look like they're in their
17?
teens, early 20s.
What is this Google Wheels SC Pro? What the heck? Stop messing me on flipping SoundCloud. Ugh.
It's taking you to SoundCloud.
It's this weird SC Pro listing radio thing. It's like weird motion on SoundCloud. Stop commenting. Wasting my time. Thinking it's an actual good comment. It's just no. Just promoting your stuff. Stop it. Oh god.
Yeah, dude. It doesn't even have an age for
Yeah.
the main guy, Nagate in
Yeah.
Next
I think
Sidonia.
it's 16.
He's what?
I think it's age 16.
He's 60? Ooh.
I believe so.
Okay, because I went on the show's fandom page, but it didn't tell me.
I mean, you had the synopsis that told you the birthday, so.
Oh, I didn't read that.
Well, yeah, it was shown, so if you looked at it, that's up to you.
Oh yeah, no. Anything about birthdays, I'll zoom over. Like my eyes literally glaze over and I keep looking for the rest of the plot.
True.
But well, all right, 16. Yeah, so I think Promise Neverland is definitely our youngest protagonist storyline.
Kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makes you want to think, like, what's going to happen? Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I love it.
I mean, probably nothing good for most of these devastated Earth.
Yeah.
Like most of these stories don't have the like happiest of endings.
Yeah. And actually, it's kind of funny because with Devastated Earth, I was watching someone's live reaction of anime 2022 like episodes, like must watch, 3 episodes, 1 episode, skip, all that good stuff. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to the trailer, and it's like, oh, this one's pretty good, and then this one caught my eye. World End him is pretty good. The honorable mention for this: the man killer virus wipes out 99% of the population of all men, specifically, and there's only like 4 men, or I guess teenagers, put in hypogenesis because they have this weird disease of multiple sclerosis that can only be prepared by sitting in, homeostasis for like 5 years while the AI tries to repair their cells bit by bit. And apparently they don't age in this hypostatic sleep. And when they come out, it's 5 years later, and they'll have an agent that represents them. And they're told that they're the only one of the 4 men left on the planet, while everyone else is just a women population. And the current saber fails when the world was like ending and every male was just at. It only took 3 months for this apocalyptic male extensioning event to happen. They all happen at once simultaneously. And yeah, all the countries that survived had the Women Council. So it's united of women. So then now they form that as a basis that men are no longer susceptible to lead the earth. What do you think about that?
I think you want to talk about this because I know you're reading it, but I don't know. I guess it fits with Devastated Earth.
It is
But I think
devastating.
it.
If
I'm
you
just
literally have
saying.
your species wiped off the face of the planet, and you literally hoping to repopulate the earth to the last for full remaining people, yeah, that's kind of a big deal.
That's just an extinction. That I think Devastated Earth for me is like I would think like probably Doctor Stone or any of the ones we've mentioned where it's a complete like upturn of it. But this one sounds like it's gonna be funny and a lot of foolishness happens.
Yeah,
But you know what? I guess it still counts. It's still a devastated Earth because it could mean total extinction for the
yeah.
human race. Yeah.
I mean, what you going to do with a bunch of women? I mean, it's kind of cool to have a bunch of women, but like,
I feel like
yeah.
they should have froze more men, like if
Well, they,
possible.
they did, but there's no cure for the man killer disease. So they're in hypostasis. I think there's like 1.5 million men in hypostasis, but it's still slowly affecting them, even in the current condition. So they don't find a cure or a vaccine or the originality of the disease. Then yeah, they will eventually not be able to live because the disease is still ongoing. It just delays the inevitable.
True. I guess I would have to think of it in a more serious tone, but I feel like also depending on which guy you pop out, he's like, this is heaven. It's absolutely perfect. To hang out with a bunch of chicks all day and like have a good old time. I'm really important. Like this is amazing. It's a harem world. I could totally see the one guy just being like, I don't care if we all die. Like take me. I've accomplished my dream.
Yeah, but that's our take on Devastated Earth, post-apocalyptic, escaping Earth, having some weird event that is just large-scale human impact on the caliber that's so big that it's just plot defining. Yeah, that's my final piece on it. What's your final piece?
I think the Devastated Earth motif is probably one of the stronger ones that you can find. Usually you'll probably find it underneath like apocalyptic like shows or whatnot in anime. That'll also fit with it. And there's a lot of ways you can go in showing how humanity has to figure out a way to adapt. And we're very adaptable. So it's a great genre. There's great shows to come from it. Clearly, got Cowboy Bebop tatted on me for it. So I enjoy the genre and I'm thankful for it.
Well, that's another episode of NC Anime coming to a close. Thank you. Maybe we'll have one more motif, and then we might branch off into different content and original ideas. So stay tuned for that.
Bye, guys. Talk to you next time.
This concludes another episode of MC Anime Podcast. MC Anime Podcast is available on podcast directories like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. We also have our website at mcanimepodcast.com. If you want to directly support us, then follow Patreon blog MC Anime. Finally, if you want services for hire, then we're available on Fiverr for audio and video production, graphic design, idea consulting, and blog and article writing.